Welcome to the Cigar Rebel community, where indulgence meets authenticity. This is more than a podcast. It's a gathering place for those who savor life's luxuries with unapologetic passion. Here we celebrate the fine art of living through rich flavors, bold spirits, exquisite cigars, and unforgettable experiences.
Welcome, Cigar Rebels, to the podcast. I'm Mel.
And I'm Kevin, and we're coming to you tonight with a discussion and conversation about limited edition cigars.
Yes, tonight we are tackling the topic that many cigar enthusiasts get excited about, myself included, and that is the limited edition cigar, as you said. So we're going to talk about what makes them special, why companies even bother to make them, and of course, whether or not they are better than the core line.
Absolutely. And we're going to get into talking about some of the special limited editions or best limited editions of 2025. We're going to preview what's coming up in 2026 that we know about, and there's some that we probably don't. We might have a small debate around, is it a limited edition or the core line? So pour your drink, light a cigar. I can't talk tonight. Light a cigar, and let's get into it. For whatever reason, I sit down, and I'm tongue-tied tonight. I can't even say that.
Yeah.
But we're super excited to jump right into the topic tonight.
Yep. And is there anything that you're forgetting?
Oh, crap. So, yeah, we're missing what we're smoking tonight.
Yep.
We need to light a cigar.
Yep.
I told you I'm all messed up tonight for whatever reason. So, Mel, what are we smoking tonight?
Tonight we are smoking the Elevated Humidor Limited Edition 2025 Pumpkin. It has the San Andreas Maduro wrapper, Dominican filler, and Dominican Viso and double Lajero from the Dominican and Nicaragua. So I'm excited to light this up shortly.
Yeah, I am. What do you think about the cold draw on this cigar?
I love it. It's a little subtle for me so far, but it's just very light, but I'm excited to light it up.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the limited editions we'll talk about here in a little bit. I'm excited to light it up and see where we're at. Let's go ahead and get to our lighting that's brought to you by Big Sky Cigars.
Back in 1905, under Montana skies, 100 satin factories rolled smoke for a wise. Reminders of ranchers, life, one and grin. Now Big Sky Cigars is bringing that spirit back in.
Yellowstone River to the bold bighorn flow. Madison, Beirut, Blackfoot, we know. And Lee from Nicaragua, San Andreas to the Ecuador rolled up.
And every box sold helps our veterans men. With warriors and quiet waters, we lend a friend's hand. It's heritage burning in every draw. Big Sky Cigars, Montana's pride and law. Big Sky Cigar, where heritage flows with every draw. Find your rare red Big Sky Cigar to pop.
Ask your local tobacconist about Big Sky Cigars today. If they do not carry them, shops can reach out to Brad Frazier to set up new accounts.
As always, thank you to Big Sky. And also, I forgot to mention we were talking about this cigar. This is the 2025 Pumpkin Limited Edition, but it also is fitting perfectly with this week because we are in Halloween week.
Yep, absolutely. And so it's Halloween. And the funny you say that, one of the things I had just mentioned, I was tongue-tied getting going. I have no idea why. We had everything set up and ready even early tonight.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the cold draw was very mild on this cigar because it's a closed foot.
Yeah.
As we go to light the cigar, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that. Like I said, totally off. We produced this cigar. And but no, it's been one of those days. It's been crazy and busy, and it is Halloween week. So happy Halloween to all you rebels out there. I hope you guys have a great plan for enjoying a nice cigar this coming Friday. We're going to be hanging out with our kids, doing some trick-or-treating. I'm sure we'll have a great cigar before or after. And who knows, maybe while we're walking around the streets, we'll see what that looks like. But it's Halloween week, and we're super excited to be smoking one of the Elevated Humidor's fall limited editions, the pumpkin.
Yep.
No pumpkin spice, right?
Nope.
No pumpkin flavor. So what flavors are you picking up on this now that it's lit?
I'm getting a little bit of some spice on there. just a little bit. And then I'm waiting for mine to open up a little bit more.
Yep.
But it's very smooth. And I have smoked this cigar before, so I know the flavor notes that are there.
Yeah. So what flavor notes are you getting?
They haven't hit me yet. Right now, just a little bit of spice.
Yeah. So in the very beginning, it's a little bit of spice, a little bit of that baked bread that's on there. It is the initial thought for me. But this cigar will open up as it goes in. And so, as you mentioned, the double Lajero in here gives it a punch. This was a different blend in the previous 3 years that we blended this cigar. This year, we did change that up with a double Lajero to be the sister cigar for our other fall limited edition cigar, which is the Autumn Night, which is a triple Lajero. And so we're really excited to be smoking this tonight as we get into the topic. So, Mel, let's jump right into tonight's topic and let's talk about limited edition cigars.
Yes. So before we dive into those examples, let's go ahead and define our terms a little bit and talk about what we mean when we say limited editions, or LE, if you're using the abbreviation.
Yeah, absolutely. In cigars, a limited edition is a blend or release that's really produced in restricted quantities or really for a specific occasion, anniversaries, a celebration, a retailer exclusive, maybe an experimental blend. It's not intended to be a part of the brand's regular core line or regular production. And depending on what line or brand you're talking to, some of them call it core line and others call it regular production. So you'll see those interchangeable tonight as we talk about that.
Right. And the limited could also be talking about the volume. So there could be few boxes, or it could be by time. So like only once a year or twice a year, or by region or by the retailer. So for us here, this pumpkin is only available once a year in a limited quantity that we release. And we do get people who ask why we named it the pumpkin if it is not pumpkin flavored. And I honestly always love when we get that question, because we've had equal parts of people who would be excited if we released a pumpkin flavored cigar and equal people who would not be excited if we released a pumpkin cigar.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's got its name from the fall because it is called the pumpkin. We release it during the fall.
Absolutely. So one of the things when we get in talking about limited editions, you know, often they're using aged tobaccos, maybe it's experimental leaves or an experimental blend, or they're wanting to do something with the design that falls outside of their regular production, some special packaging, a special band. And it really gives brands room to play a little bit and push the boundaries. And as you were talking about this limited edition for Elevated Humidor, we really wanted a fall that kind of would fit for Halloween, but then also transition into Thanksgiving. And so that's where we came up with the pumpkin. For those of you that have seen this, and I have it on the graphic here, I'm going to throw back up in a second. You can see the band has a pumpkin on there carved for Halloween, but it is also smoking the pumpkin cigar. So actually the band is on the cigar in its mouth. And so it's a little hard to see in this graphic, but it was really that way to play with kind of the design pun.
Yeah. And so switching gears just a little bit, why do companies develop the limited editions at all, and what's in it for them?
Well, there's really several different reasons. Brand and marketing and prestige. Any limited edition can really generate buzz or really elevate a brand's image or the draw. People like to hunt for different limited editions, and it can draw attention from media, from influencers, from collectors. It also gives them the opportunity, as I said earlier, to test new blends or try out tobaccos and see if they can blend something that might eventually make it into the core line.
Yeah. And also, you can't forget that limited editions, they help allow for experimentation. So new leaf sources, aged tobaccos, barrel aging, different vitolas, and they have a lower risk than converting it to the core lines. So there's revenue and pricing power as well. So because they're scarce, they're usually sold at a more premium price. And limited editions can also boost margins and enrich the perception of luxury in the brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, there's the collector and the FOMO aspect as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Demand. You see the FOMO in tons of industries, the bourbon industry, the cigar industry. even in cars,
Yeah.
you know, when they release some limited editions. So FOMO's real and alive today, right?
Yeah.
Especially with social media.
Yeah, and just the scarcity and the collectability. If you can get your hands on some of those limited editions, especially if you have a group of people that you smoke with on a regular basis, if you guys can all get your hands on one, it's a great night to be able to enjoy and experience that. So it's definitely, I think that's a great reason, especially if you're into trying stuff new. Some people have their cigars that they love, but we smoke a lot of different things. So it's always nice when it's a limited edition. We know we might not have had it before.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the big things when we look at the secondary market activity that's out there is there's definitely a collector's process and there's a secondary market for cigars. You wouldn't think that there is, but it's out there. And really for the bigger brands that release the year of, or they release an annual release like Amazon Basin, Baca from Roma Craft fits into that category. And so there's a few that are out there that secondary market is pretty interesting. You see it a whole lot more in the bourbon, whiskey, spirits world, but it's really growing in the cigar world. And I'm not sure if I love that or dislike that.
I feel like it has its pros and cons. I think people looking to experience new things, especially if you, like I said, you're going to have a group of friends, or even if you're just going to try it, I think that's great. But then also it makes it to where those limited edition drops, if you have the opportunity to grab one, you got to do it sooner rather than later. Absolutely.
In the chat, they're talking about what cigars they're smoking. And DJ smoking the Olivia Serie V, which we'd smoked on the podcast last week.
Yep.
In the Natural Figurado, which is a phenomenal cigar. And Jason had asked which size he's smoking. I really think just about any of them are fantastic. I prefer the Figurado, but several different ones out there are really good. DJ said he's smoking the Robusto. I almost said my favorite's the Robusto, but I didn't want to push Jason away from purchasing the Double Toro if that's what was available for him right now.
Yep.
Moving back into the topic, when you have limited editions created specifically for commemoration or storytelling, these are such as anniversaries, milestones, collaborations. The limited editions really allow brands to tell stories, Mel, really pay tribute, or really create some special narratives, brand heritage, region, or maybe a social cause that's out there.
Yeah. And from a business perspective, limited editions are great tools that the brand can use in their toolbox for innovation, for buzz, for segmentation. I would say for the autumn night, we released it, last year. And once it went away, we've had a lot of people asking this year, when is it coming back? How do we get our hands on it? And
we had
which is
65% of the cigars we produced pre-purchased, or maybe not pre-purchased, but pre-ordered from cigar lounges around the country. And so they went out the day we released them.
Yep.
And we've got a few left in our stock, but very few. And so that's definitely one of those things that is a payoff, right?
Yep.
However, there are trade-offs. The consistency, consumer expectation, and really the risk of overhyping.
Yeah.
So one of the things with Autumn Night is we had a couple of lounges really push them last year and had some social buzz and a little bit of growth for that. And so this year, when more lounges were interested, that was one of our worries, right? The risk of overhype.
Yeah. I mean, those are some of those trade-offs that you have to take into consideration when you're planning for a limited edition cigar, especially if you're planning on doing it like once a year, or if it's by timeline, not necessarily by once and never more.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a company, we produce a few different limited edition cigars each year, and for many of the reasons above. So why would you say that we like to produce limited edition cigars?
Well, we love blending. And so producing a limited edition gives us a really good opportunity to flex our blending minds and powers.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I would definitely say we love to blend cigars. I like to be creative with bands and different names that we wouldn't really do in our core or regular production. And it really gives us an opportunity to do that. It also gives us the opportunity to play with tobacco.
Yeah.
So we had a limited edition cigar that we were, Ashley says she's smoking the Autumn Night tonight.
Oh, awesome.
So thank you so much for smoking that. You'll have to check in and let us know how it's treating you here in a little bit. We wanted to blend a limited edition cigar that is a throwback to my past. And it's coming out with a Greek name, written in Greek characters. It's pronounced Protos. And this is going to be a limited edition cigar. As we had a tasting panel taste those cigars, it might actually be regular production.
Yeah.
And it's not even been released yet.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely excited about that. So we're looking into all those options before we even release it yet. So really that kind of segues into $1 million question here. Is a limited edition better than what is in a brand's core line?
Well, the answer to that, and for all you rebels out there, from our perspective, and particularly mine, is not always.
Yeah,
limited editions do carry the potential for more novelty. They really do carry the potential to be an exceptional smoke. They also create the potential that I have fallen in love with it and now I can't get it anymore. And then there was a limited edition we smoked recently. We're not going to name the brand, but it is a top 7, as we like to say here at Cigar Rebel Company, one of the big guys. I was so excited to get it, lit it up, and had to fight my way through it.
Yeah. And that's always the sad thing too, is with limited edition, keeping your expectations of that cigar based on what you have smoked by that brand, because sometimes it can blow you away and sometimes it can definitely disappoint.
Absolutely.
But some of the pros of a limited edition over a core line is you're going to have intrigue and novelty. So limited editions often push boundaries more than the core line. So there's a lot more room for surprises.
Yeah,
you don't, again, looking, if you're judging what your expectation is, if you're thinking it's going to be like the core line and it's nothing like that, that could be a positive or a negative, depending on what your expectation is.
Absolutely.
There's the rarity factor, like we talked about. Drinking something or smoking something that others can be very special. And then there's the experimentation of it. Limited editions can present blends or tobaccos not viable or consistent enough for a core line. So those are all some great pros of doing a limited edition.
Yeah, absolutely. Go into the comments real quick, and I'm going to talk about one more pro. Actually, I'll do that, and then we'll go to the comments. So another kind of pro thing that I had in my notes, Mel, was prestige and collectability. Many limited editions have become sought after. They really hold value for collectors, and really act as halo products. You know, they kind of put a halo over these brands that just do okay throughout the year, but this limited edition is what pushes them into the black every year. It's what helps them be successful, or it's what keeps people smoking their core line because they're waiting for that limited edition to come out.
Right.
And so it's kind of that gap filler.
Yep.
And so that's definitely out there. And each of those can lead to cons and different caveats. But before we jump into that, Leslie mentioned very woodsy, think sitting outside on a cold night by a campfire. Definitely love sitting out and smoking both the pumpkin and autumn night in both of those settings. As you guys can tell, it's darker this time of year, but we live in a very woodsy area here in the middle of the national forest, and so it feels that way most nights. Jason said, for limited edition cigars, about how long from an idea of a blend to available for sale does it take? And so I don't know if you want to jump off and just touch on that for a moment, Mel.
So I think that really is going to depend on the cigar and on the brand, and there are a lot of contributing factors. Like Kevin was talking about Protos, it will have been almost a year since we blended that cigar that it will be released as that limited edition.
Yeah, so when we came up with the idea in February of 2025, and that cigar is here and aging, but it will not be released until January of 2026. One reason that was the blends is we had the tobaccos we wanted to play with. We're able to do that. It doesn't have a box.
Yeah.
So there was no production time. Jason, you asked that question. It's a great question. You can go back a few episodes to The Art of Cigar Packaging, which really talks about every single piece of the process has its own timeline, its own process. And so it really depends. In the first autumn night, it was 17 months because it took time to blend it. We had the idea. We created bands. It was our first shaped band. Everything else was straight before that. So we had to find the right vendor, and we ended up just bringing it in-house and doing those ourselves, which ate up 6 months of our life.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that can do that, and it depends on the type of tobacco being used.
Yeah.
Some cigars go through a sick period in as little as 15 to 20 days. We have cigars right now that are aging, that are going through a second sick period because of shipping them and them kind of staying a little bit more humid in the ship getting here because of the time of year. And so that was a little bit of time. So really thinking, it really just depends on that.
And all those layers, like when you talk about, if you listen to our packaging podcast, if you haven't, I recommend going back and listening to it. All of those layers will affect when it can be released. You could have the cigar ready to go, but if your band or your packaging is not ready, you're going to wait until that's done, especially for a limited edition run. And vice versa, you could have all the packaging and branding done, but if the cigar is needing more time to rest or something along those lines, of course, you're going to wait for that cigar. So lots of different factors, but that's a great question.
And he said it must feel good to share them with folks when they're out. Absolutely. Stogie Bro just mentioned that he was holding a Liga 10th anniversary for this podcast. But one of our cigars that just released, the LSA Lone Star Attitude, just released a few weeks ago. Stogie had smoked 6 or 7 months earlier.
Yep.
And he kept asking us, when's it going to come out? When is it going to come out? So when we got to release those, it definitely felt good, Jason. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the topic tonight and talk about limited editions versus core line or regular production. What are those cons or caveats to be concerned about?
Yeah, so some of the cons are going to be flavor versus hype discrepancy. So some limited editions are going to be overhyped, but they are going to under-deliver. There's going to be inconsistent performance. So because these blends are most of the time experimental, the wrappers or consistency may be a little bit less stable. There's also the cost. Premium pricing can make it harder to justify if you want to try it or not, because you want to make sure you're getting that return for your dollar, and you're not going to know that until you smoke the cigar. So
yeah, absolutely. And then core line reliability, right? Core lines are built over time, they're refined, and they often have a proven consistency and a widespread support. The sustainability product, really producing limited editions or an extreme amount of limited editions every year may fatigue consumers.
yeah.
There's a couple of brands out there that release 4 or 5 limited editions a year. And as a cigar shop, because Mel and I really do a lot of the buying for stories, or the majority of it, in that process, there really becomes another limited edition, because you've got to get it in if you've got cigar smokers on that brand in your lounge.
Yep.
But now you've got to fit it into your schedule.
Yep. You've got to fit it into your budget. You've got to fit it into all of these factors.
And so it can have not only fatigue on the consumer, but on the retailer.
Yeah.
And that's something to be concerned about.
Yeah. We do get consumers who are like, oh, well, they just released a limited edition, last quarter, a couple months ago. I still have some in my locker. I still have some in my humidor. I'll wait on this. And it is a tricky, that can be a tricky decision.
Absolutely. And so is there a middle ground, Mel?
So many would argue that the best scenario is when a limited edition outdoes the core, but doesn't stray too far from the brand's identity. So it's going to enhance rather than undermine.
Yeah. For example, in that, like if a limited edition is used to highlight a tobacco that does not fit into the core line, but it's complementary,
Mhm.
that's a really good thing, right? Or if it's used to attract new segments without harming the core's integrity.
Mhm.
When we talk about Autumn Night and now the pumpkin, it really is one of those things that it extends and complements our line. We really wanted a double and triple Lajero cigar that we don't really feel like fits into our regular production. One is because of the amount of Lajero that goes into it, but also a double triple Lajero cigar is really a fall winter smoke.
Yeah.
You're not going to smoke that on a hot June or July day. So it makes sense to have that in the season. As Leslie mentioned earlier, you can grab a pour of bourbon, you can grab a chai like I'm drinking tonight, you can light a fire and smoke something that's a stronger, fuller bodied cigar.
Yeah. I mean, really, in the end, better is going to be subjective. What you prefer depends on your palate, your risk appetite, and your collector mindset. So knowing the pros and cons can help you decide which of the limited editions as they come out are going to be ones you're going to want to try.
Yeah, absolutely. And Leslie said it's so hard to know when you buy one, is it something you're going to want a box or boxes of? And so there's some that they've regretted not buying several boxes of.
Yeah.
I can tell there's some we've smoked recently that I actually bought 2 boxes of and immediately wished I'd bought more.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely that trial that's out there. But Mel, going back to the topic, you mentioned some really good points of it being subjective, the risk appetite, the collector mindset. And for those of you guys that are live in the chat, do you prefer limited editions or core line? We'd love to hear from you tonight as we're continuing the podcast. We'll call that out here in a little bit. And maybe really a better question than that is, what is your mindset when a limited edition comes out versus the core line? Are you preferring limited edition or core line in your regular rotation?
Yeah, those are some great questions. And I am hoping to see some good thoughts and get some great feedback from you guys. But before we get to the answer, let's take a quick break and you guys can jot your answers down in the comments.
We'll be right back.
We fell in love with cigars not because of the flavors or smoking experience or perceived status, but because it allows barriers to fall between other humans and build deeper connections. For that reason, we've been super intentional to curate a space where people can find community and enjoyment with others, and cigars just happen to be the way we're doing it. For that reason, we are thrilled to be the one and only cigar retail store and lounge in downtown Lufkin. A good story is one of the most powerful tools used to connect with another human. Sharing stories fades out differences and highlights similarities found in the details, or with the storyteller. Over the years, we have seen some of the best stories told over cigars, and thus, new friendships are made, passions shared, encouragement given, and so much more. The impact storytelling has on the human connection is why we've decided to name our store and lounge Stories. Because behind every good cigar and conversation is an even better story.
Source Elevate is a consulting firm that focuses on providing resources, insight, and experience to elevate your performances. Our team's 30-plus years of experiences in executive leadership positions provide the foundation of knowledge that we provide to our clients. Allow us to elevate your company's mission, vision, and objectives over short, mid, and long-term initiatives that drive results and source new opportunities.
As always, thank you to our sponsors. Let's go ahead real quick and take a look at upcoming shows.
Yeah, I'm excited about the shows that are coming up. Last week we did a great episode with lighters and humidors. I'm going to tell you that was a difficult one to pull off. I feel like the content was great. The technology was not so great. So thank you guys for sticking with us. Really appreciate that. And sorry, my iPad is going crazy. So jumping right into the episodes coming up, really excited about next week's episode. Stories, Cigars, and Lounge, the story of stories, and the 2-year anniversary announcement. We hope you guys will tune in, check out, and learn all about Stories' 2-year anniversary party. There is some great announcements, and there might even be some discounts for those of you that want to attend at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome episode. November 10th, we're going to be doing holiday stalkers. So these are going to be all the great holiday cigars and gift ideas for you in the holidays.
And then just in time for Thanksgiving on November 17th, travel woes and cigars, preparing for holiday travel. And we've got lots of tips for you, regardless if you're traveling by plane, on a boat, or by car. We've got some things just for you.
Yep. And then on November 24th, we are doing Thanksgiving cigars and family stories. So we will be going over what cigars will be great to be pairing with your Thanksgiving day, food, and then tradition and stories. So
We're
that'll be
excited
a fun one.
about all of those. Some great episodes coming up. So make sure you go down there and click on that subscribe button so you can follow along and always get notified about upcoming episodes. You can also follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Cigar Rebels, or as always, join the Cigar Rebel community on Facebook where you can post pictures of your cigars, the food or bourbon or whatever drink you're pairing with your cigar, and share it with the rest of the Rebels out there. We'd love to have you and see what you guys are thinking.
Yep.
Before we jump any further, Mel, how is the 2025 Elevated Humidor Pumpkin treating you?
It's treated me pretty good, to be honest. I feel like I'm smoking it a little bit quicker than I normally would. But the burn line, it's got a pretty even burn, good construction. It's elevated a little bit for me in those original flavors. But I'm enjoying it. What about you?
Yeah, it's great. The spice is muted down. There's still more of that little bit of that breadiness that's there. There's a sweetness that's there in the cocoa or the cacao. Just a little bit of hint of espresso, but more of like the bitterness if you're chewing on an espresso bean more than if you're drinking espresso.
Yeah.
That San Andreas Maduro wrapper, I think is where that's really coming from. And even though it's a double Lajero, it doesn't really have a super strong strength factor, but it's very bold and punchy.
Yeah, I agree
and
with
so
that. I agree. I think we got a couple of answers in the comments that we asked before break.
yeah, absolutely. So why don't you read Leslie's comment to us?
So Leslie said that she has learned her lesson in regards to limited edition. I will smoke 2 of them fairly quickly after they're released to determine their box worthiness. Then I will purchase a box and allow those to age.
It's a great approach. MS or Mr. CS Conrad said, I prefer core line, but I have a love-hate with LEs. Man, I understand that. I love to try new things, but can always get more of them when I love them. And that's absolutely one of the problems, right? You find something that you absolutely love, and then you just don't ever see it again. And I like limited editions that are annual releases because at least I know I'm going to get it again in a year from now. What I really struggle with is limited editions that are ones and dones.
Yeah. Well, and I think like Leslie had mentioned earlier, how she doesn't know if she should buy a box or if she should stick to singles. And I would say, as crazy as it is, if you think that you are going to like that limited edition, as soon as you can get your hands on it, smoke it and see. And then immediately, if you like it, go buy a box. Like that would be the only, I never want people to buy a box of something that they don't like. But if you can smoke it even there when you pick it up, then you might know midway through or whatever if you want a whole box.
Yeah, so we were in Salem, New Hampshire earlier this year, and the Perdomo Ruby Red came out, limited edition for Two Guys Smoke Shop, or Two Guys Cigars.
Yeah.
And
get that name right.
Get that name right. Yeah, we smoked one during their podcast on a Saturday, and we bought 2 of them, and they're expensive cigars. They said they're expensive. Went upstairs, smoked 2 of them. After the podcast, went downstairs and bought a box plus about 8 more.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things. We smoked it. We knew we loved it. I wish I would have bought 2 boxes, but at the price tag, 1 was enough. And we shared them with friends, and it's been a great experience smoking those, but really wish I could have more of those. So let's get back to limited editions. And we talked about the terms, if people prefer core line or limited edition. What's next?
I mean, so I think it's important also to talk about and mention that limited editions are not just unique to cigars. So many industries release limited edition versions of their core products each year.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those that are sought out this year, that we really sought out this year, And they turned out to be a little just kind of blah. Was the Oreo Reese's Cup collaboration.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
I was excited about that, and it was a little bit of a letdown for me. to be
Mel was
honest.
tracking them online and where we could get them, and we were checking Targets around the country as we were traveling, and we finally got our hands on them. And actually, we got the hands on them right here in Lufkin.
Yeah.
And we opened them up and took a bite, and it was like, I had one bite and said it's not worth the carbs and moved on.
Yeah. I mean, I think I spread them out over like several days. Like I had a cup a day because I wasn't going to waste them because, I mean, it was the Reese's. But at the same time, the regular one, to me personally, was so much better. So,
yeah, absolutely. And the regular ones are absolutely so much better than those other ones. And that's the case sometimes with limited editions versus core line, right? Is sometimes the limited edition just does not live up to the hype. And sometimes the hype is not even the hype the company is pushing. It's us as consumers.
yeah. Well, and I also think it's interesting to say, talking about the Oreo Reese's collab, they also did a Reese's Oreo, which was going to be an Oreo cookie with like a Reese's filling. So I'll be honest, I didn't try that one at all because they already do a peanut butter Oreo. And I was like, how much different could they be? Maybe they are astronomically different because, again, I didn't try them. But you run that risk sometimes with limited editions, is how much different, if there's something very similar in the line, am I going to try it because I already know that there's one in their core line?
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we get off of candy for a few minutes, but there are other companies and other people out there that do limited editions. Let's talk about a few of those real quick.
Yeah, so there's going to be Four Roses. So they do a 2025 limited edition small batch bourbon. It is 18th edition in the annual series, a blend of 13 to 19-year-old barrels bottled at around 109 proof. The next one, are you going to comment on that?
No, I was just say, just to make sure we're talking bourbon and whiskeys. I skipped over asking you that question going into that. So yeah, so take us down the line. So Four Roses 2025. Next one is really the Yellowstone 10-year, right?
Yes, the Yellowstone 10-year limited edition bourbon. 3 unique mash bills, aged 10 years, bottled at 105 proof, allocation of about 10,000 cases. Then there's the Booker's The Reserves 2025, which is an LE release finished in tequila barrels, extra aged and bottled at a high proof of 123.30 for 2025. Yeah, we're not drinking that tonight.
No.
The Russell Reserve 13-year, that is the return of the 13-year limited expression at its highest proof yet. That one is 123.8. There's the Old Forester President's Choice. That one was previously ultra rare, now a national release in limited quantities of both bourbon and rye, aged 7 to 9 years, and the proof is going to be from 110 to 125. And then last of this list is going to be the Heaven Hill Grain and Glass Rye, which is 2nd edition 2025. This is a limited edition in-house grown rye, so 63% rye mash bill, aged 6+ years, and it's in a 700 milliliter bottle.
Yeah, so in that same line, we can't forget one, Mel, that we scored recently, and is really one of the first times I've gone out bourbon hunting myself, and that was the Dallas Bourbon Club Specs Blend number 2 Copper Series Penelope Rio.
Yes, you definitely wanted that one.
I did. I definitely wanted it. I looked it up. I tracked it. We drove to Dallas to look for it, and it is absolutely a fantastic bottle. In the same aspect of Leslie said about the cigars earlier, I wish I would have bought bottles of it, not just a bottle.
Yeah.
But it was excellent to do that. And drink it.
You wanted that bottle so bad. I actually called a couple of places to see if they had any left. And for those of you who don't know, I don't do that very often because I don't call a lot of places to see if they had it. If Google can tell me if it's in stock, I'll pick it up. But I very rarely will call somewhere and ask if they have it. But I did for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get back to cigars, but I want to hit one last thing. We talked about candy. We talked about bourbon and whiskey. I know there's a lot of details I think you put down in some of your notes, but just tell us the names of some food limited editions that we found. And we did some research to look at what are the other limited editions. And the funny thing is several popped up that we'd seen. Maybe we've tried them, maybe we haven't, but what are they?
So some foods could be there's going to be the Oreos like we talked about, but then there was also one which I did not try. It was the A&W ice cream flavor soda. So that was a limited edition, which was sweet vanilla ice cream and fudge in a 12-ounce can. They also did make it in a 0 sugar option. I could not get on. I didn't have a desire to try that one.
Me either.
And then there was the Cheez-Its and the Wendy's Baconator collab, which is in 2025, and that is a limited edition snack flavor collaboration that has sold out fast in a lot of places. I have not tried that one.
So we put this on the notes was several days ago. I actually tried those on Thursday or Friday at the office.
You didn't even tell me that.
Somebody had them. I know I didn't tell you.
Trying limited edition snacks without me?
They were awful. I mean, they tasted like the burnt grease from Wendy's.
Well, then it's fine that you tried it without me.
I mean, it was awful. But again, they're trying different things. Now, some other people, I was at the office looking at some things, and one of them had it, and they absolutely loved it. So that's the other thing about limited editions, is just because there's a lot of hype out there and people are loving it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you guys to put in the comment maybe something limited edition that you've tried that you loved or didn't love. Leslie, I've had those Reese's stuffed pretzels. Well. I've also had the Reese's animal crackers. Those things are spectacular. You should buy them. So as we get past the list of food stuff, there are so many other limited editions out there across the board that we honestly just don't have time to talk about tonight. But companies from almost every industry have gotten into the LE game, and they're creating these limited editions, limited runs to either supplement or strengthen their brand. And you can see it in almost any industry.
Yeah, 100%. So a couple of the noteworthy ones are going to be the Disney and Brooks collaboration. Another one, which is one of my favorites, is the Disney and the Joffrey's Coffee Collection. So these are annual releases, and they're one of Kevin and I's favorite coffees. I don't know. The first time I grabbed one was actually at Disney Springs.
Yep. Disney World earlier this year.
It had the 3 princesses on it, and that one was by far one of my favorite coffees I think I've ever gotten.
Yes, Leslie, I am an enabler. I encourage you to buy them and try them. Popcorn's going to love them. So were you. And then Jason said, even remember when they first came out with Christmas colored tortilla chips in the 90s? Oh, they do so many different things to try and get us, don't they? So
that would not get me, by the way.
It got me. I had them when they came out. And then you eat them with queso and guacamole, and it makes it even better.
Thanks.
But so the Disney Joffrey collaboration was absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
My chai's gone, so I'm on to just water, and now we're out of the Disney Joffrey 2025 release, but I think they still have some more to order. So I know what I'm doing after the podcast.
Yeah. So going back to cigars, let's run through some of the strongest limited edition releases of 2025 that we have smoked and that have also been making waves into the world.
Yeah. So jumping off of that is a Davidoff cigar. Do you want to cover that one, Mel?
Yes. So that's going to be the Escurio 10th Anniversary Limited Edition 2025. That one was released to celebrate 10 years of the Escurio line. It has an Ecuadorian wrapper, Brazilian binder, Dominican and Brazilian fillers, and it is a 6x56 Gran Toro. The production is around 15,700 boxes globally, and the tasting notes are going to be oak, natural tobacco, some pepper, subtle sweetness, and it has a really good complexity to it.
Jason's sharing us some information I'm not going to comment on. Bless you, my friend. Life gets better. Another one that was released recently, and I have one sitting on the coffee bar right now, is the Cohiba 2025 Weller Antique 107 cigar. This is the annual release the last few years by Cohiba and Weller collaboration. This year's was the binder was a broadleaf that was aged Antique 107. It was absolutely a fantastic cigar. From everybody that I know that smoked it, I haven't smoked it yet. We did get a few boxes in at Stories. They were gone within hours, not even days. This one was just released in October 2025. And as far as I know, it is sold out just about everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a real popular one. And then also earlier this year, CAO released the highly sought after Amazon Basin, followed up by the Amazon Basin Daggers. And that had people hunting them as well all over the country.
Yeah, we had the Amazon Basin. We actually got a lot of those in, working with one of our vendors as well as CAO. We ended up getting about 22 boxes of those. And there was, I don't know the exact box count. They had released a number and then they edited it. And then I saw later that the edit was wrong. So I don't really know what the actual number was, but it was pretty limited. We actually had some people traveling from Dallas and Houston to Lufkin, which is a 3-hour or 2-hour drive, to grab them at Stories. And then the Amazon Basin Daggers were just as limited.
Yeah.
And so people were hunting them all over the place online. And really, those are both cigars that create a lot of buzz. That's for sure. And that's one of those things that a limited edition can do for your brand. I do want to comment on, I mentioned Two Guys Cigars earlier. They had 2 different releases this year for their 40th anniversary cigar, for their 40th anniversary. And really, they had a few other ones mixed in, but they're really 2 had been released, and another one's coming up in just a few days. But the Ruby Red by Padron and the 40th anniversary edition by Perdomo Cigars, both were spectacular cigars. And I, for one, wish they were in both of those companies' core lines.
Yeah.
The Perdomo was the one that I bought a couple of boxes of. I'm down to less than 1 box and wish I'd bought more boxes of.
Yeah, I would say both of those collaboration limited editions were spectacular. In general, I do not reach for a Padron cigar just because I have smoked so many other things, and usually there's something in the humidor. I try and find something that I haven't had before. But this one that they had was great. And if that was in humidors everywhere, I would most likely reach for it a lot.
Yep, I agree. Jason, DJ, love to hear that. Love to see people moving forward. So thank you guys for sharing with us. So what about Romacraft? They've got several different limited editions that they like to showcase.
Yes, so Romacraft is a brand using limited edition to really showcase as their showcase piece. They're going to use it for branding, prestige, and also to push boundaries. Like we talked about earlier, one of the pros of having a limited edition. There are 3 that are coming to my mind just as we're sitting here talking about it. And that's going to be, the first one's the 2025 Romacraft Baca, which is medium to full strength blend featuring a Cameroon wrapper and an undisclosed binder and filler. This Nicaraguan made cigar is known for its naturally sweet profile, and it has hints of pepper, spice, and nuts. And it is also named after the Baka people of Central Africa. We got a lot of those ones in.
We did
a fair amount. I think we still have some left.
We definitely have some left in the humidor at Stories. In our locker at Stories, I've got about half a box. I grab one every now and again. Next, they have the 2025 Cro-Magnon EMH from Orion, which is a fantastic cigar. It's their Candela cigar. It is very similar to the Cro-Magnon EMH, but with that Candela wrapper, it really makes it an exceptional cigar. They pair that with a Cameroon binder that's just fantastic.
Yeah. And then lastly is going to be the 2025 Craft Marquette series. This one, oh no, I skipped the Cro-Magnon, actually. That was the one that I was going to first.
So I covered that one.
Okay.
I jumped in on you.
Oh, yes, you did. So the Marquette series, it's a line of small batch, limited production cigars that explore different blends. So these are distinct from previous craft releases, and the 2025 Marquette Steel Porcupine. It is very strong, and it is very full-bodied.
Yep, absolutely. I've got 2 of those in my locker. I've not smoked. We sold through those quickly when we had them at the lounge. And so definitely excited to do that. I've just been waiting for the right opportunity, and we've just been so busy lately.
Yep.
Another cigar that's really making some noise this fall that's about to release actually tomorrow at Stories is the Mille des Deux limited edition 2025 by Crown Heads. And this is a really interesting limited release featuring a 12-count Corona Grand cigar humidor. It's a size unique to this release that they don't do any other. And it's a personal favorite of Crown Heads co-founder John Uber. And it really has 6 different cigars in there with a Habano wrapper, Costa Rican, Nicaraguan, and Peruvian fillers. And it's really interesting. They're all dressed a little differently. And so when you buy the box, you get all of them. And so that's a really interesting product line that's got a lot of online buzz going on right now. I've seen it in several Facebook groups. It just released last week. And so there's a whole lot of hype around it. Only 1,500 boxes were available. And there's a limit at most places, the number that you could buy.
Yeah. And then also, we cannot forget the infused sensation of Deadwood. The Deadwood Dios Los Muertos 2025 is a limited edition box-pressed cigar from Jewish States. It's a special release of the Sweet Jane line. So if you enjoy the Sweet Jane line, you will most likely enjoy this as well. It is going to feature a dark Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Nicaraguan binder and fillers, a sweetened cap, and is known for its sweet, aromatic, and medium-bodied flavor profile notes of coffee, chocolate, and leather. The boxes for this 2025 release are randomly finished in one of 5 vibrant colors. So you can get it in yellow, light blue, purple, pink, or orange.
Yeah, and one thing to really keep in mind with all these limited editions is the time, the thought, and the effort that goes into producing the cigars, the packaging, and the media for a single release. Mm-hmm. It's so much. Some deliver, some have flaws, but part of the excitement of the limited edition is the bet that the company takes.
Yeah, 100%. It is a lot of effort that goes into these limited editions, and everyone is just hoping that all of that effort pays off and the consumer is going to enjoy it and find something unique. Absolutely. So that's why I would say at the Elevated Humidor, we have 3 specific limited editions in our portfolio.
Yeah, and like many companies before us, 2 of our original limited releases or annual releases became a part of our core line based on demand. The Elevated Humidor Maduro and the Elevated Humidor Sumatra Royale originally were semi-annual releases, once in the spring and then again in the fall. And they really became a part of our core line because of demand.
Yeah, that is 100% true statement. Now we do have a spring limited edition set for release, and that is our Duality. So that is a barber pole of San Andreas Maduro and Ecuadorian Connecticut wrappers with Nicaraguan binder and fillers coming in one size, the 4x60s. And I will say when we released these last year, they were gone before we could even put out a press release that we were releasing them. So.
Yeah, 2 companies bought, really, one company bought our entire original stock and then another bought the second part. Mm-hmm. And so they were sold before they actually ever were released.
Yep.
The pre-orders. We do have 2 fall releases. We are smoking one tonight, the 2025 Pumpkin. We mentioned earlier the Autumn Night. And so the Pumpkin's a San Andreas Maduro with Nicaraguan Lajero binder with fillers of Seco, Dominican Lajero, and Nicaraguan Lajero. Then you have the Autumn Night, a Brazilian Metafina wrapper with a Lajero binder, and a triple Lajero blend of Nicaraguan, Dominican, and Honduran tobacco. And we're getting great feedback from this year's blends. We made one slight blend in the Autumn Night by adding a single leaf of Seco to help it burn a little better. The Pumpkin's a completely different blend from the previous years because we wanted to make a sister cigar to Autumn Night.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been great. And then also, before we move on, I don't think we can forget our podcast 2025 Summer Custom Blend,
Absolutely.
Which consisted of 4 cigars with 4 different wrappers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was the Cigar Rebel 2025 Custom Blend. In fact, if you haven't had those and you want to get your hands on some, if you go to our website, The Elevated Humidor, and click on the Cigar Rebel link, I do believe there's a handful of those packs left. Yeah. I don't know how many, maybe a few. But we are really excited because the feedback on those have been wonderful. All of those full-bodied cigars in that 4x40 were a major hit, and that's why we're excited about the winter edition Robusto that is currently aging and getting ready to release in the next couple of months here for Cigar Rebel.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about this next one. So talking a little bit about stuff that is coming up, what is new on the horizon and what limited edition cigars are already generating buzz for 2026?
Absolutely. So I'm going to talk back about the Cigar Rebel 2025 Winter Blend. We have several people asking. It is a Ecuadorian Connecticut with a full-bodied Nicaraguan binder and fillers. It is a full-bodied cigar. It's not getting hype on a large scale because we're not that large, but it's definitely getting a little bit of hype from those who follow Cigar Rebels that have been smoking our cigars. But here are a few to watch that are making a lot of buzz. The Roma Craft Series 2026. Roma Craft has recently teased a new release on their Craft Series, most likely a 5x60 format priced around $15 in a 10-count box. They haven't released what it's going to be, but every time they announce one of these Craft Series, it gets hype. Weller by Cohiba, they just released the Antique 107 this month, and they've already gone ahead and said that next year's limited edition is aging, and it's created so much hype. These are sold out, and people are already waiting. 12 months in advance, the hype is building.
Yeah. One that is launching later this week is the Two Guys Cigars 40th Anniversary Edition of the Atabey Collector's Box. So for fans of either Two Guys or Atabey, this is a release you do not want to miss. I think it drops on the 30th, and if you can get your hands on some of that, I think that'd be awesome.
Absolutely. There's been so many great releases for their 40th anniversary. As I said earlier, I've not had them all, but the one we've had is fantastic. I know I clicked on that notify button and I'm waiting for that to come out. You should too. I expect them to be fantastic cigars, and there's no better way to support those guys, or no better thing that I would love to do than support them. Not that they need all our support. They've got great things going on, but I love supporting them, and the stuff they've been releasing this year that I've had is fantastic.
Right. And I think it's worth noting in that many of these 2026 releases are teasers now. So they're brands that are building anticipation and posting to get some buzz and also sneak peeks.
Absolutely. So Mel, lately we've been going a little long and going over time, and this is just another topic that we really need another hour or two to do it justice, to really dive into it.
Okay. So maybe we should look at doing some series on a few of these topics.
But that might work. Maybe it's a introduction to limited editions, and then it's what limited editions were this year, and then what limited editions can come out next year. But for tonight, we don't have that plan, and we don't really have another hour or two to go into this. So what else do we need to communicate to the rebels out there before we sign off?
All right, so let's get practical. So for anyone who wants to drop in the comments, tip 1 is going to be when a limited edition is announced, follow brands and retailers closely, as these items often sell out fast.
Yeah. Tip number 2 is try pairing limited editions and core lines side by side, same vitola or wrapper, to really begin to learn the differences, right? Mm-hmm. It's great to smoke the core line and the limited edition back to back. Sometimes I do it at the same time.
Yeah. Tip number 3 is going to be store and age the limited editions carefully. So they are rare tobaccos and they may evolve differently. So if you're planning on holding on to your limited editions, then just make sure you're storing them carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not buy just for the hype. Taste and performance still matter. Evaluate with your palate and not with your wallet.
Yes. And then last is going to be to document your experiences. Take notes or photos and share in our Cigar Rebel community on Facebook to build your own limited edition memory bank. And also that helps us know also what to be looking out for.
Absolutely.
If we missed anything.
It's a great point. Building your own little database is awesome. If listeners have questions, you can send in any limited edition releases you'd like us to try or comparisons you want us to do. We may do a special limited edition showdown in a future episode. So we'd love to hear from you tonight or on any of our socials what limited editions you would like to hear a little bit more information about.
Yeah, so there it is. Limited edition cigars, their power, their risks, and of course their excitement. We covered some of the best of 2025 and previewed some for 2026, why brands love them, and whether they're inherently better than the core lines.
Yeah, which is still a question that I don't really know the answer to. As with all cigars, the proof is in the smoke. Whether you love limited editions or stick to core staples, the best cigar is always the one you're currently smoking.
Yes, 100% agree with that. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you liked this episode, please leave us a review, share with your cigar friend, and hit us up, like Kevin said, with any questions about any limited releases you want us to analyze.
Yeah, so next time we have a full house with the story of Story Cigars and Lounge and 2-year anniversary party, as our other partners with Stories will be joining us. There will be 5 or 6 of us on camera, so it's going to be a full house.
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen? But for tonight, that's our show.
Yes, so thanks for joining us today. Until next week, keep your cigar lit, your ash long, and your palate curious.
Have a good night, guys.